Hey guys, this is Alex Alvin. I'm here talking to Grant Morrison about your new book from Virgin Comics. I am going to entirely mispronounce the name, so I'll let you say it.
Oh, I was wanting to see you trying that.
Mahaberata.
There you go.
Oh, I got it.
Well, it's not actually a book. What it is, it's an online thing.
Okay.
So it's the idea is to create this online content, and what we're doing is we're taking the old the Mahaberata, which is one of the earliest myths in the Hindu mythology. And it's a story of a family who basically goes to war at the end of the last age, and what the conclusion of their war basically decides the way we are living today. So it's kind of got a lot of relevance to the world we live in. So we wanted to take this just huge battle into the biggest ever battle story that's ever been told.
How much did you know about this before, and how much was research when you were going in? I guess previous question to that, how did you end up working on the project?
How I ended up is just Virgin came to me and they wanted me to do something with them, but they didn't know what. We obviously couldn't do comics because I'm exclusive at DC. So the idea was to come up with a project that would be something slightly different. And this notion came up to do 30 4-minute episodes, which would basically tell this gigantic myth again. And I knew the Mahaberata from long ago. I used it in the Invisibles partly as one of the sort of the setups for the Invisibles, the mythical backgrounds. But when I got to actually researching this thing, it's about 500,000 pages long, it's this size, and I'm still reading the book. So I've been kind of working my way through it, and I'm trying to tell it in a slightly different way, a way that doesn't quite, it's not as linear. It starts at the battle, and the stories are told around the battle rather than, this gigantic, sprawling epic. So we're trying to make it a lot more modernistic and bring it up to date, and also taking into account stuff we've seen like 300, and those, so there's certain people expect certain things from battle, so we're trying to top all that to go 10 times beyond 300 in those kind of movies.
And how do you do something like that when you're working online as opposed to in comics format, which is generally bigger?
It's just a case of they've got some really great artists. We broke this down. It's a very new idea. Like I say, it's 4-minute episodes, so it's finding almost like the pop song version of that part of the myth and putting it across. And they all connect at the end in a modular way. So it was a whole new way of trying to put the thing together. It's not like comics at all, really. It's a different kind of modular kind of approach, in that you can watch these things. You can watch one of them, you can watch 10 of them, and depending on how you choose to watch them, you get much more of the story.
Is it something that you would want to approach again now that you've gotten into the online arena?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's a new way of doing stuff. No idea how it's going to play out or what people think about it or how it will work, but as an idea, yeah, it's quite exciting. It's a new way to do stuff. It's a new way to tell a story.
A lot of people are saying that online comics are the future of comics. Do you think so?
Oh, it's hard to say what the future of comics is. I think the future of comics is movies, to be honest. But comics will always stay around. So it's not necessarily a future, but it's another way for comics to spread out into the general media, which I think is interesting. I think comics will still be made of paper in 100 years, but there'll be a lot more for a specific audience. It'll be more like poetry. I think the stuff that we love about comics is now migrating into other media.
Let's take a little bit of a step back. When you're talking about such a huge story, such a sprawling story, how do you keep that focused? Do you keep it focused on one character or a few characters, or is there a way of telling a sprawling story like that without doing that focus on an individual character?
Well, the way I try to do it in this particular thing is that we start in the battle, so you see a lot of characters in situ actually killing people, doing their thing. So we get to see them almost as the superhero version of the character in his armour, using his power. And then as we spread out from that, we start to see stories of how they got to the battle and what brought them there, and the backgrounds and the people that they love and the people they hate. So the further out in this particular story we go, the more human it becomes. At the centre of it's this huge mythical battle, and that's our focus. But around that is all these human stories which feed into it. So we've kind of approached it as the battle being the central thing and everything else orbits that, which is different from the book or the original.
Working with Virgin Comics, other than it being different people, is there anything different in terms of the approach?
It's a kind of interesting because obviously they've got a kind of multicultural approach. We're working with artists from India, and some of these guys are amazing. They're as good as anything in the American comics industry. So what you're getting is a completely different take on a lot of stuff that we're familiar with, coming from guys who've grown up looking at this stuff in a very different way. So that's what you get. You get a much wider and kind of more global approach to the material than you get working on American comic books.
In the beginning, there was Brahma, from whose perception all the known and unknown things emerged. On Earth, His perfect people lived for thousands of years in paradise, until our world began its inevitable decay, and all life would be extinguished.
I think recently you said that once you're done with Final Crisis, you're on Batman for the foreseeable future, but otherwise, no, you don't have any plans for any mainstream DC books. Do you see yourself moving into different projects like this, or more creator-owned titles, or what do you
A
see?
bit of that, creator-owned stuff, plus things like this, maybe in other media and the film stuff that I've been doing, a bit more of that. I kind of think, I've done enough with DC superheroes for a while, I mean, I'd like to do them again, but I'd like to completely rethink all that stuff. So if I'm going to do it again, it'll be very different. So yeah, I mean, Final Crisis is my last big statement on that stuff for a few years, I think.
Why stay on Batman then?
It's just, I really love doing Batman. It's as simple as that. I love doing the book and I don't want to stop.
What's so attractive about the character in particular?
About Batman?
Yeah.
Well, have you seen The Dark Knight? He's just the best superhero character available to talk about the world we live in today. There's just something about him. It just fascinates me, that whole Bruce Wayne, tortured, super rich man. There's just something really interesting about it, and the way it talks to us about our own corporate world, that fucked up guy sitting in his tower with his bat suit on. Something. I mean, I can't even put my finger on it. I write the thing and I don't even know why it's so great.
Last little thing, this is an off-topic question, but I don't remember whether you made an announcement about it, but Sea Guy 2?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sea Guy 2's happening. Cameron's done the half of the first issue, and it's coming out early next year, I think, so it's looking pretty good.
That's great. Cool. And when do we have to look forward to, now I've completely blanked on the name.
Mahaberata. I don't know, they just showed obviously the trailer in there, which is the first time I'd seen the animations. It looked really good. I've no idea. I imagine these guys, I know they're working on it right now, so hopefully the first episode will probably be a few months' time, and then it'll start to roll out.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and stay tuned for plenty more from Comic-Con.